place is very much alive. Last night I heard everything from hyenas to, I think, lion in the distance, elephants, nightjars. In fact, I didn't really sleep much at all, but I think it's a mixture of excitement and overstimulation. The sun's about to rise. You're probably wondering why we started this video at sunrise. Yesterday was a very unexpectedly long day. I ended up at someone's farm. I'll get into that later on. But anyways, it's part of the adventure. We are here now. I'm literally the only person staying here at the moment, which is very cool. Tomorrow we head east towards the actual coastline, towards a place called Cape Vidal, which is in isiMangaliso Wetland Park. Neither of these places I've done before. It's all brand new to me, which is very exciting. We're going to head straight towards a very special little habitat in search of some very special rare birds. Mkuze Game Reserve, a compact and diverse mosaic of ecosystems in an area known as Zululand in northern KwaZulu-Natal. It's home to over 400 bird species, including a number of near endemics. As always, it comes down to habitat. Savanna, swamps, wetlands, riverine forests, mixed woodland and grasslands. But my focus will be mostly somewhere else. Deep in the heart of Mkuze Game Reserve lies one of the rarest and most mysterious habitats in all of Africa. The sand forest. It grows on ancient, deep, white and nutrient-poor sand. These sands were once old coastal dunes left behind when the sea slowly retreated a long time ago. The trees are short, twisted and incredibly diverse. For birds, it's paradise. The thick undergrowth hides shy forest specialists. The African broadbill with its abrupt rattle. The elusive near-guard sunbird flashing emerald in the shade, and the gorgeous bushshrike with its beautiful liquid whistle. And that, my friends, is a lifer. It's a bogey bird for many people. What a beautiful little call, and the good looks to match it as well. Just through the branches, hopefully I can film it or photograph one of those a bit better at some point. Only a handful of these forests still exist in the world, mostly here in northern KwaZulu-Natal and a tiny patch in Mozambique. But agriculture and invasives make it impossible for this already sensitive habitat to survive. And with that, the birds that call it home. It's a real privilege to be here. This is an insane bird hide. Just as I contemplated moving on, company arrived. Yellow-billed kites are a common sight here in summer, arriving from further up in Africa to breed. But usually they're seen slowly gliding low over the bush like a kite. To see one perched feeding on a small bird like this is a first. It feels like something special can happen here at the drop of a hat, and I could have easily sat here the whole morning. But my time at Mkuze is brief, so onwards we go towards Nsumopan. I think I might have missed my opportunity to see the African broadbill this morning. When I was doing a little bit of research, apparently you need to be in the area very early, as that's when they're calling the most. Pretty much around dawn, but I got caught up with those zebras and just so easily distracted. Another good tactic to use, I think, is to just slowly amble along, and when you come across a bird party, which is basically a group of different species of birds following each other around, and it's pretty much just a feeding frenzy, then stop and spend some time in that party, crash that party, and see what you come out with. Right, that should just give you an idea of what it's like out here. You can hear birds, but you can't see it. Probably about 2 meters to my right here is a black-backed puffback calling its heart out. Just can't see it. This would be a growing theme throughout the week, but this stunning broad-billed roller reminded me not to get too hung up on it and just enjoy what came my way. Another summer visitor is the blue-cheeked bee-eater. In a few months, they'll begin an epic journey all the way back to the Middle East and Central Asia to breed. They'll need all the energy they can get. Mkuze hide. Let's check it out. Blue-cheeked bee-eaters all over the place. Never experienced that before. There are excellent guided walks here, offering a great chance of seeing the highly sought-after Pell's fishing owl. But I'll leave this for a potential return later in the year. A question entered my mind at this point. Am I even doing this right? And if filming or even just spotting birds in this vegetation was challenging, what will the forests at Cape Vidal be like? Guys, this is very difficult to film. Despite my waves of self-doubt at times, the new species was still coming thick and fast with a few lifers too. I didn't really know this even existed. A Hollub's golden weaver, if that's how you pronounce it. Its pale yellow eye and heavy bill differentiates it from the eastern golden weaver, which also occurs here. Speaking of thick bills, its cousin wasn't far away either. I've just learned that there are 15 species of weavers in southern Africa, and I haven't even seen half of them yet. With the temperature rising, I went back on my own tracks past Kumasinga Hide, where apart from this woodland kingfisher, it was the mammals who had my attention. It's almost 12 o'clock. It's been a very long morning. 35 degrees now, so it's time to take a little break. Ended off the drive very nicely with a pygmy kingfisher that just came darting across. Didn't get to film it, of course, but you're gonna have to just trust me. African pygmy kingfisher, lifer. I have a very good idea, I think. I'm quite chuffed about it. This morning was obviously really good. Plenty of new birds for the list. I think somewhere around 30, give or take 1 or 2 that I need to confirm. You can probably hear right now, the bird life around the camp is insane. I think a walk around could be really rewarding. And to be honest, a drive this afternoon is not really exciting me after 15 hours in the car yesterday and today. Alright, this is what went down. Things were going just great on the 6.5-hour drive from Joburg to Mkuze. But at the final stretch to Mshopi Gate, I encountered a closed road. I assumed due to recent flooding. Scanning various maps on my phone while driving through the farmlands only led to more confusion. I don't know. I ended up at someone's farm. I might have to drive through this field. No, there's got to be another way. After an hour of reaching nothing but dead ends, I gave in and took an 1.5-hour detour to a Panzi Gate, which is on the other side of the reserve. Weaving through the rural communities, the maps were now just about as useless as I was. I found myself behind an ambulance, which I managed to wave down.
Panzi Gate.
Panzi Gate.
Yeah.
I think so.
Are you going that way?
Yeah, I'm going to Panzi Clinic.
For some strange reason, I confidently went ahead of them. After some time, they waved me down.
It's the wrong direction as well.
It's to go that way.
Yeah, just tell them.
And looking a little less amused than I was, ordered me to follow them to the gate. All of this meant that my total driving time to the campsite was about 9.5
I
hours.
think one of these spots here, right in the middle on the nice flat grass.
So I think it's a good idea for both the bird life and my life. What that allows us to do is light a fire nice and early, get to bed at a reasonable time, hopefully sleep properly tonight. I'll be up at about 3:30 to pack up camp, get out of here, because we need to be in the sand forest by dawn. One of the main attractions here is, of course, the sand forest, which then brings the endemics. I'm not too sure I'm going to have the chance again this year, so let's go all out for the African broadbill. Having this camp all to myself was pure bliss. What I really enjoyed about this afternoon was the way the birds were settling down at the same time I was. I believe this is a brimstone canary, but I'm not 100% sure. So you know what to do. Get involved in the comments and let me know if you agree. If it is, it's another lifer.
I thought I'd use the time wisely and make a nice dinner tonight. Usually it's just purely meat and nothing else, like last night was just purely peri-peri chicken wings. Tonight we have sweet potato, baked beans and steak.
A little bit crispy. So why am I making such a big deal of the African broadbill? Well, firstly, being restricted to these kinds of forests make it a rare bird to find, and I'll have limited opportunities this year. And to be very non-scientific, it's just a very cool bird. As seen here on the Firefinch app, it launches itself from a low branch, flying in a 1 meter radius, making this abrupt, hollow rattle. The sound is mechanically produced by the wing feathers. Apart from that, its little ball shape with a large head and eyes make it look like a cartoon character.
Alright, it is 5:21. Sun rises in about 4 minutes officially. I've just made it to the sand forest. I stopped to record some sounds, and as I started talking to you, I heard one calling from up ahead here to the left. Oh, I just heard it. I swear I did not plan that. It's so tough to know exactly where it came from, but I'm going to park here where there's a lot of low-hanging branches from which I think they enjoy displaying from at dawn. Let me switch this car off and get dialed in here. No luck yet. I've heard it maybe twice now, from the same spot, but kind of in the distance. I think it would be a lot louder if it was visible. I mean, I'm going to give it another half an hour at least. I've been here for already 40 minutes or so. We've done all the hard work, might as well give it a real chance. I must say that this is just as thrilling, if not more, than, say, getting up early to go stake out a leopard den or something. If I don't see it, this whole experience has just been quite fun and, I don't know, it's just bringing me a lot of joy. To sit in the sand forest at dawn and just listen to the place come to life, something else.
I reluctantly turned my back on the forest and emerged into the more typical savanna for the less secretive feathered friends. even though I was excited to get to Cape Vidal, a slow morning proved to be really productive. I thoroughly enjoyed my brief time here, and a return later this year is definitely on the cards.
One thing that must be said about Mkuze is that the bird hides are immaculate. I haven't seen anything like it. Really, really impressive. I have one last trick up my sleeve to find one of these endemics.
With the help of a new book I have, which I'll show you later on, this pool area is a great place to spot the pink-throated twin spot.
Right, goodbye Mkuze. The good news is that we got the pink-throated twin spot. I can't believe it was right there, like as I walked into the pool area, and then disappeared. Never to be seen again. Very shy little birds. The other good news is I went to reception. They said Mshopi Gate is in fact open and has been for some time now. I don't know what happened on my way in, but I was just thinking now, this episode and this whole series in general is not doing the perception of my intelligence any good. Let's see what we see on the way out. Let's go to the beach.
I left my action camera in the bird hide.
There's a term in South Africa for this kind of behavior. It's called loskop.
The loskopping continued. I went so off track on the way out, a man waved me down to tell me that I was lost. Eventually, I made it to the main road and was well on my way to Cape Vidal. Although arriving was exciting and scenic, I was a little overwhelmed and overheated in my fully sunned campsite.
Very warm.
Unsure how to kick off this stint of the journey. Filming anything was met with resistance by both technology and creativity. So I forgot about the birds for the afternoon, went to the beach and attempted to braai with some of the wettest wood available. I can sometimes put too much pressure on myself to find and film things to keep these videos entertaining, while forgetting to just relax and enjoy being here. This was one of those moments.
And that brings us to Cape Vidal Beach. I think watching the sunrise here is a good way to kick off a new mindset for the rest of our stay here. I must say that when I arrived here yesterday, I felt a little bit like almost intimidated. And I think it's purely because it's just so new to me. It's such a different environment, different habitat. At Mkuze, I at least had the comforts of the bush, and the ocean in the background is a constant reminder that I'm a little bit out of place here. When it comes to information and research and knowing where to go and what to look for, there isn't that much online, to be honest. So I'm coming in a little bit blind. There is a ton of potential here, definitely. I mean, this is prime wilderness. And I think the only real answer to that is to explore and find out. So that's going to be the mentality for the next couple of days. And hopefully through that, we'll find some special birds and who knows what else. I'm going to finish my coffee here. My goodness, what a way to start the day this is. There's a beautiful fig tree in the parking lot here. I'm hoping to find some birds having a little breakfast there.
Instead, the fig trees were attracting some mango monkeys. Just a note to not park directly underneath them. A change in mindset was instantly rewarded. Many kingfishers in South Africa are in fact not always associated with fishing, feeding on insects, lizards, spiders, and more. This pygmy kingfisher thrives in well-wooded areas and, well, we're in a forest, so it does well here. The blackish bill threw me off here for a second, but this must be a young one with its bill turning bright red as it matures. I politely crashed another bird party, which included a dark-backed weaver and a Woodward's batis, which is another lifer. However, as you can tell, they were almost impossible to film.
I think as we come inland, further from the beach, these forests start like having these open patches. And it creates like these little fringes, which I think the birds love to spend a lot of time in, where it just like kind of gives way to a little bit of light and maybe even some sun at times. So there we are finding things out.
Continuing west, I found something a little larger.
Oh my. What a morning this is turning into. I didn't have a massive herd of elephants in the forest on my to-do list, but here we are. It's quite interesting to be with them in this environment compared to like the typical savannah. They are like quite wary, especially the older females. They seem to really stand on the road and keep an eye on you while the rest of the herd does their thing. Even after they've moved off into the forest, my word, these flies are crazy. It stands there and watches you, and it's like, you wait until we are deep in, until you come past. So you got to be very respectful here. Obviously, with the forest, can give them a bit of claustrophobia as well. In fact, they really do not want to get off the road. So what I'm going to do is do this big loop from the other way around, and maybe by the time we get to that Lake Bangazi, they'll be down there drinking.
Stopping off at various hides and viewpoints as I moved south, I got lucky with a few species that are more often heard than seen. At first, I thought I was looking at a Knysna Turco, but was even more chuffed that it was a Livingston's. It's very similar to the Knysna, but has a longer, pointier crest, and it replaces the Knysna in this little corner of the country. These walkways to and from the hides give a real sense of wonder and are very productive. It's also a great chance to notice a bit more on foot.
I saw what looked like an eastern Nikita flying past here on the way to the hide. It just seems like such a secretive bird. I cannot for the life of me see it. But to be fair, I mean, look at this place. It's super dense. Identifying that turn in the distance we got there is going to be lots of fun. Might need your help on that one.
This bird truly had me stumped, but I got another chance at it. I believe this is in fact not a tern at all. Looking closer at this footage, the reddish color under the wings point me towards a lifer. The collared pratincoll. It's lumped in with the waders, but hunts flying insects on the wing. I really enjoyed this carefree attitude behind the morning's adventure, exploring with no real intention other than satisfying my curiosity. You'll probably agree that the main takeaway is that this place is uniquely stunning. It turns out the Bangazi Loop is a one-way route, so we'll have to look there this afternoon. Instead, I had a look at the ruggedly beautiful Mission Rocks before heading back to camp, where low tide was in full effect.
It is blistering hot at the camp. So much so that I just cannot be there anymore, and I think it's only 2 o'clock and I've already set out on an afternoon drive just to get some air flowing. We'll take it slow and easy, relaxed, and we'll do the route that the elephants did not allow us to do this morning. So we're gonna come out Cape Vidal here. I'm just sitting in the shade somewhere in the forest. Check out Lake Bangazi, come around towards a swamp forest and do this dirt road down here, but nice and easy. And that will leave us with one last night on this adventure, and there has been a change in plans for that, but I'll let you know about that tomorrow.
The forest suddenly gives way to Lake Bangazi. I was truly stunned by the beauty. Looking over the water, you can't help but wonder what could be discovered on the other side. On the fringes awaited a pair of saddle-billed storks quietly going about their day. The male with the black eyes and the female with the yellow. Moving away from Bangazi takes you through open grasslands towards the red dunes, which have a real ancient look to them.
I wonder if one day in the very distant future, they could slowly give birth to a sand forest. Back towards the main road surrounds you with shrubby hills and dunes dotted with palm trees. I'm grateful for my time here, but tomorrow we explore the western shores before one final mission in a new location. Plan A was to exit the eastern side of the park to re-enter at the western shores as early as possible. I really think I might have just seen a southern-banded snake eagle. It's tough to tell. However, the brown, white and black on the wings here points me towards a common buzzard. Let me know if you agree. So what I thought was going to be a very simple and brisk drive down to the main gate has turned into a really productive morning. Just as I was making some ground, I came across another buzzard. Really getting sidetracked here. I've come across this common buzzard sitting on the telephone pole just up there, and it keeps going down into the grass here on the edge of the road, catching something and then taking it to another one up there and eating it. Earlier on it had a little snake, and it's just bringing such amazing photographic opportunities. So it goes back to that first one. There it goes. Trying to take photos of it going down and then coming out with something like a snake or something interesting. Well, that was another 150 Rand to come in this side. Apparently it's a whole separate thing called the Western Shores of Isimangaliso. So yeah, geez, all these things add up, and it's probably a good time to mention that the support from the patrons really does go a long way and comes into moments like that, and obviously camp fees and other things. So if you are wanting to support the channel in a small way on a monthly basis, then I'll leave the link in the description for the Wild Wild Journeys Patreon. Really is mostly just a way to help the journey keep going. Spending the prime time of the morning in the eastern shores meant that the western shores were a little quieter than I had hoped. I went directly towards Charters Creek, where I found an African jacana before checking out the aerial boardwalk.
On my way out, I found the osprey I missed out on in Pilanesberg and a very proud-looking fan-tailed widow bird. So, on to our final campsite. But first, a stop in the pretty little town of St. Lucia to replace the tongs I left behind at Cape Vidal. Those were a Christmas gift from Kaylee, so to whoever picks them up, Merry Christmas.
That is warm. Cold beer is calling. And then chat to you a bit about the plan here for this final night of the adventure. So, why the change in plan? Nothing wrong with Cape Vidal at all. I absolutely loved it there. If I stayed one more night, I think the afternoon and tomorrow morning would have been very similar to like this morning and yesterday. There's also another reason I've come here, and it's this book. This isn't an advert or anything. This was just gifted to me the other day by BirdLife South Africa, who are the conservation organization looking after the birds here in South Africa, conserving them and their habitats. The Chamberlain Guide to Birding Gauteng and surrounds. We are definitely not in Gauteng. Rich dune forests are separated from the Indian Ocean only by a narrow strip of beach. I can hear something. And the main thing I'm very excited about is the Iguala Guala Trail. Keep in mind that there are plenty of hippos around, and an early start means you might bump into these potentially dangerous animals. Birding here can be hard work. Spotting birds in thick vegetation requires stealth and persistence. Your list will greatly increase if you are familiar with the bird's calls.
What? Tinkerbird.
Tinkerbird.
Headed, red-backed, red-rumped Tinkerbird.
Front.
Samango monkey.
Around sunrise and again in the evening, the eerie foghorn-like hoot of buff-spotted flufftails can be heard. They consider this like a phantom-like bird. Green malkoa, yellow-rumped tinkerbird, African green pigeon, blue-mantled crested flycatcher, black-throated wattle-eye. There's something else I've noticed on this trip. The mornings seem to be extremely productive compared to the afternoons. Even just before sunset, it just doesn't quite reach those same heights. So I'm going to test that theory out by doing the Iguala Guala Trail both this afternoon and tomorrow morning. Maybe, just maybe, we can get the list up to 200 by the end of this trip.
Feeling as confident as ever, I set off.
And so we begin the Iguala Guala Trail. It's a dog, not a bird. I don't think I've ever been more prepared for a little walk than this. So that's one of the P's out the way. There's 3 P's: preparation, patience, and enthusiasm. This is going to be very, very difficult. Only like 200 meters in, and every time I hear something or see something, it just flutters away before you can even see the shape of it. But this is just pristine. The trees make these squeaky noises as well as these like croaks that I always think is some special bird, and then it turns out to just be the tree trunk. Now, we're not lying about the mosquitoes. They are monstrous, and there are millions of them. You can hear these tinkerbirds everywhere. Just cannot see one. I must be completely honest with you. I'm struggling to film things, at least steadily, and get focus on the subject. It's obviously really, really tough in the forest. Let's see what the estuary has in store for us. Ellie did it again.
I felt that beyond these skyscraper-like reeds lay an abundance of life. But perhaps I'm here at the wrong time of year.
This way seems more interesting.
I had imagined a beautiful golden lit stroll, discovering hordes of unique waders along the edge of the estuary.
I don't really know where I am, to be honest. Something whistling. Good morning from the Iguala forest at dawn. I am lathered head to toe in mosquito repellent. Let's see how the morning compares to yesterday afternoon. Those are trumpeter hornbills. I have seen one already, but it would be so nice to get some good footage, or any footage of anything at all. It's difficult, but I'm not complaining. I mean, look at this place. Sounds like a crying baby.
The purpose of the large ridge or cask on their bill is not yet fully understood, but one of the theories is that it amplifies their call.
I'm just down now on the fringes of the forest, kind of like between the forest and the estuary. There seems to be a lot more activity and a little bit of visibility every now and then, but still very difficult to film and even just spot anything.
I can't count how many times I said this.
It's difficult, very difficult. Tough in the forest. I don't know. I mean, guys, am I doing this right? Let me know. Give me some tips for next time, please. Okay, I think there's like a bird party somewhere here. just heard eerie call of the mysterious buff-spotted flufftail down in here. Apparently very, very difficult to find. They kind of live in this undergrowth. That stuff would probably be like top bird to list here.
There are some interesting tales behind this mysterious sound. One claims that it's made by a chameleon who is mourning his mother after he killed her in an argument over some mushrooms. I couldn't spot the phantom of the forest, but I did find this. An African weaver ant nest. Worker ants carry their larvae in their mandibles and gently squeeze them to extrude a silk which glues these leaves together. Although I've struggled a bit with spotting the birds, I've just loved the experience of being in the forest.
Well, the results are in, and I'd say the morning is definitely more active than just alive than the afternoon. Also less mosquitoes, which is great. And more conclusively, the forest is just difficult.
I clearly need to rethink my approach to the forest birds, but we'll get another chance next time in the mist-belt forests of Mkuze Kloof. Remember to subscribe to not miss out on that. We'll see you there.